Today, we're going to learn how to copy a DVD using WonderFox DVD Ripper Pro. All right, in a previous video, I checked out the WonderFox DVD Ripper, and it was the free version, and I was pretty impressed with it. It saved it as the MP version of the movie, and it wasn't bad. However, they have a Pro version, and they actually reached out to me. WonderFox reached out to me and asked me if I would review their Pro version if they gave me a free key. So this is a they did give me a free key in all transparency here, but I went ahead and downloaded the WonderFox DVD Ripper Pro, and it looks like when you download this, it's a $39.95 plus tax, so it's not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. However, if you are ripping a lot of DVDs, it could be really useful because this opens up the ability to be able to copy your DVDs into MP4s, which is a little easier, is a little smaller file, a little easier to store. And if you're using it for something like Plex or a server that you're trying to put them on, it saves a lot of space. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be installing this and reviewing this paid version, once again, which they did offer to me for free so that I could review it for you all. And we're going to see just how good this really is. And by the way, while we're waiting for this to install and we get into this, if you're finding these reviews helpful, would you like and subscribe to the channel? I'd really appreciate it. It just helps to get the channel out there and let others see it, and it helps to promote it some. When you first open it up, it checks your hardware to make sure that you've got the right things to be able to transcode, and it makes sure that it works at the speed that it can. And this shows you the formats that it can create with the abilities of your laptop or computer. So we're going to go ahead and register this beast. And now we're going to go ahead and see if we can find a DVD so that we can go ahead and put a DVD in the DVD player. We're going to click the button here for it to read the DVD, and we're going to see which one we've got here. I'm going to copy Bonhoeffer, I believe, for us today, and this should be interesting just to see how quickly it does that. And you can choose this encryption detection. Some DVDs are going to have encryption detection on them. If you choose this, it about doubles the ripping time. And sometimes you get a better quality rip. If you're doing like a Disney DVD, you probably want to use this. Otherwise, I don't think that you should. I mean, like I say, it doubles the ripping time. So I'm going to do it for this Bonhoeffer, so you get to see, the maximum amount of time that it could to rip, because I'm also going to rip the highest quality of the DVD that I can use. So here it's reading the disc, and it automatically finds the main movie, which is a really nice feature. Sometimes it's hard to determine which track is the main movie because you don't need to rip all of these files that are on this. You just want to rip one. When you look into settings up here at the top, this tells you where the sound comes from, how much of your CPU you're going to use. I'm going to put it on highest because I want it to be a priority. And it gives you other options in here that you can choose. This is just a small settings tab. Really, you don't have to do anything there. If you move over here to the audio button, you're going to see all the different kinds of files that you can save as if you are if you paid the $39.95, and there's quite a few options here. You can share them or save them as specific devices for viewing on specific devices, or you can choose a particular type of file that you want. For me, I like everything to be transferred into MP4. That just happens to be a high quality and small file. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. That's where I'm at there. Look at that. That was like a 6/7 thing, right? Anyway, that seems to be the best of both worlds. You can click down here at the bottom and you can click your settings down here. I usually leave all these the way that they are because they're set up to optimize your copy to make sure that it's what you want. So there's really no reason to set any of these. They're already set up the right way. And we're going to click out of there. And now I'm going to move this over to high quality because I always want to rip my DVDs in high quality. Now, I will say, if you leave it where it's at and you don't do the encoding, you can get a DVD from this in probably 10 minutes. It is a very quick rip to be able to rip a DVD with this program. However, I like to use MP4s. I often click the encoding just to make sure I'm getting the full thing so I don't have to do it twice. And I like to put it on high quality. Up here at the top where I was clicking, you can obviously change your subtitles. Down at the bottom, this is kind of an interesting feature too. You can change the hue. You can put a frame over your movies to make them have different hues if you want. Might be useful if you were doing home movies and transferring those in. That might be kind of a nice feature to be able to play around with. But for a regular movie like Bonhoeffer, I don't think we want to do that. So we're going to click OK on that. We're going to get out of there. And the only thing left to do is to go ahead and hit run. Actually, I think I want to check this folder real quick. So down in the bottom here, you can choose where you want it to save. So I want it to save in the videos folder. So I'm going to add a folder here called DVD Ripping. And then we can choose that folder in the videos folder. And once you have that saved or opened up there, now it'll save Bonhoeffer in that folder. It's a lot easier to find. And we're just going to hit run. And we're going to see how long this sucker takes. It's going to do some processing here on my computer. And it looks like it's got an hour and 16 minutes, 11 minutes. It keeps coming down as it processes. Looks like we're going to be a little under an hour, maybe 48 minutes. But remember, I put the encoding on there. So that takes about twice the time to do. So this would probably rip in, I don't know, 20-25 minutes at high quality if you didn't have that on there. So I would, do as you will. I sometimes like to check that box, especially if it's a movie that I only want to try once, or if I'm pretty sure it's a Disney movie. They always have encoding on them, so I always choose that there. Now, once it's done, you get this pop-up here that allows you to get another product if you want. That's really the only adware that I've found in this, and it's not too bad. You can actually click down at the bottom. It says, I don't want to see this again if you don't ever want it. It's right next to the I want this button. So if you do want it, get it. If you don't want it, then don't. You can click the open button here and it'll open up the file. And there you've got Bonhoeffer. It's in there. We'll go ahead and open it up and play it for just a second just to see if it's working okay. And yeah, it seems to be doing fine. We'll skip ahead just a little bit there. Yep, looks good. I'm not going to sit here and watch the whole thing, that's for sure. Not right now anyway, but maybe later. And all right, that's about all there is there. So my analysis of the WonderFox DVD Ripper. I think that it's a very easy tool. I have done some ripping in the past, and it seems like you have to set up a lot of settings. This one comes right out of the box pretty much where you're at. If you didn't know anything and you didn't want to set anything on there, you could click DVD, it'll pull it up, and then click run, and it would rip the DVD, and you'd hit two buttons, and that would cause it to copy the DVD into the folder that it has selected down in the bottom. I found this to be really useful. I have ripped quite a few from my DVD library, as I like to build my DVD library up. And honestly, for the money, I would say that it's worth it for the money. It's very easy to use. It's responsive. It's set and forget. You can click the button and walk away. You don't have to worry about it. It has ripped the DVD every time so far that I've needed to have ripped. It has. And whenever I've put in a DVD that has, say, multiple episodes, say it's a TV series and it's got multiple episodes, it acknowledges that there are certain ones that need to be ripped, and it'll go ahead and check those boxes. I only had a couple of things. I had one special DVD that was it was a Michael Jackson special DVD that I had, that it didn't catch both of the items that needed to be ripped from that, so I did have to select it, but it was pretty easy to see because one was like an hour and 40 minutes, the other one was like an hour and 57 minutes, so they were two large files that were obviously there. So I would say that this is a really good DVD ripper, especially if you're going to be doing your DVD library and ripping it maybe to a hard drive so that you can watch it while you're on the road, or so that you can watch it over your Plex server, whatever you'd like. But I will say, if you're going to be doing this, be sure that you're ripping DVDs that you own, because as long as you own them and you're using them for personal use, there's nothing wrong with doing this. So that's all I've really got for this. I'd have to give this 2 thumbs up. It's a good program. It might be a little bit pricey, but it's a good program. And so if you did buy it, you're not going to be disappointed. Thanks for watching. When I was making this video and thinking about copying DVDs, it made me think about back in the 80s when I would put a cassette tape into a player and hit the record button and try to record a song without Casey Kasem talking over the front of it, right? Because, I didn't always have the money to buy the cassette or the album or the CD, and sometimes I just wanted just one song anyway, and that was an easy way to get it and play it for later, and it made a copy so that I could listen to it anytime I wanted to. Back in '89, I actually made a cassette tape of me talking and singing and doing all kinds of goofy things on the cassette tape, a couple of songs for my then girlfriend, now my wife of 30 years. And one thing about that cassette tape is that it records exactly what was happening at that time. There is absolutely no confusion. I was a nerd, bona fide nerd, probably still am. Okay, but where I'm going with this is sometimes we like to make copies of things so that we can pass them down and be able to see them. And when I go back and listen to that cassette tape, or my wife does, it brings back those memories, and it is an exact copy of what was going on. Now, the Bible has some books in it that were handed down also, and this is the same kind of thing. Back then they didn't have cassette tapes and they didn't have video recorders, but they did write things down, and they were meticulous about it. And there's 4 books in the Bible. There's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They're known as the Gospels, and they're the first 4 books of the New Testament. Oddly enough, if you open a Bible, they're beyond halfway, all the way near the back of the Bible. But Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, these are 4 Gospels, and these 4 books are about the life of Jesus Christ, from birth to death and resurrection. Matthew was one of the apostles, which means that he traveled with Jesus, and he took notes while he was traveling with Jesus on what Jesus did. So this is a first-hand account. Mark traveled with Peter, who was one of the apostles, and he was somebody who wrote things down for Peter. So his was probably a first-hand account too, but he wasn't there quite as much as Matthew was probably. He was probably kind of in and out doing some chores and things like that because he wasn't one of the inner 12. Luke is a really interesting one. Luke was a physician, and Luke actually traveled with Paul later in the New Testament, which doesn't matter right now to you. But Luke traveled with Paul, but what he did was he went around and got eyewitness accounts of what Jesus did. And Luke was a doctor, so he cared about all the miracles and things like that where Jesus healed people. But he got first-hand accounts. He wouldn't talk to people that had talked to somebody else. He went and got first-hand accounts, documented all the first-hand accounts, and took them down in the book of Luke. And then John, the last gospel, is actually one of the apostles of Jesus Christ, who Jesus had in his very, very inner sanctum. When Jesus went any place that was really special and had a really place to go, he always took Peter, James, and John. So this is the John that he took from there. So the Bible has 4 eyewitness accounts, 4 testimonies of the life and death of Jesus Christ and what he did from 4 different points of view, 4 different people, written at 4 different times. That's documentation for documenting the truth. And ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to know more about Jesus Christ, I'd encourage you to read 1 or all 4 of those Gospels. They're great accounts of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Thanks again for watching.